want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back, y'all.
Yep. That's right. In case you don't know, I'm Kirk M. Samuels.
And I do be Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you.
You know why I'm looking down at my screen right now?
Because sharing is caring, baby.
Sharing is caring. It's free all month, man. We took down the paywall. You don't have to pay at all to share, to like, subscribe. We took down the paywall for all that stuff, man. You ain't got to pay for none of that.
Yeah, you can share to the whole world, and it'll be free this month. Share to
You know
everybody.
what I'm saying?
Your mama.
Speaking of which, hey, I've been noticing, man, that people. So when we do these live streams, of course, we do every Monday. We live stream the recording of our radio show here in Denver, 12:20 a.m. in the Mile High City, and so we live stream the recording of those. And then we try as often as possible to come back on Thursdays for something short. But what I've been noticing when we live stream, we also share these on our personal pages, a lot of times. And what I notice is people comment on our personal pages. But if you go to the Mad Men of Masculinity page on Facebook or YouTube and comment there, we will see it live if we're live doing the live stream. So it's I've been as we finish the live stream and I go over to, and all of a sudden I see all these notifications that people have been commenting, and they comment on our personal. But if you go to the Mad Men of Masculinity page and comment there while we're doing live, we can actually put you up on the screen, and JBK will make you famous.
Yep, that's what we do because we're here for y'all. I mean, Kirk and I will have these conversations whether we're on air or on the golf course or have a coffee, whatever. But we decided to share it with y'all, and some of y'all seem to like it. So we appreciate that, and we love that you comment. We love that you share. We would like you to share a little more on the right page. On the YouTube page is probably the easiest, yeah. Mad Men of Masculinity on YouTube, and then we can see it live. We can make it famous. You can become a part of the conversation. And speaking of conversation, you don't even know what we're talking about, do you?
No, but I do. You mentioned golf. I do know we got golf in a couple of days.
Hey, it's that time of year, man. It's about to be on like Donkey Kong.
But no, speaking of that, no, I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay, so we're doing control dramas. So have you ever heard of control dramas? Is this anything that's in your wheelhouse?
I grew up in Northeast DC, man. I grew up in the hood. We ain't know nothing about no control dramas, man. That sound like a soap opera or something like that, man. Yeah. Well, I don't know nothing about. I went to public school, man. I don't know nothing about all that, man. What is that? What are you talking about, man?
You know you love some drama in your life. You know you love to have a little bit of drama.
Yeah. That's exactly what a man. That's exactly what a man around and at and over 50 years old needs, is more drama. That's exactly what I need, is more drama in my life.
That's not really. Have you ever heard of victim triangle? Do you know what that is?
I heard of the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay. Well,
I heard of a isosceles triangle.
There you go. Well, I know you've heard of attachment styles.
Yeah. I heard of that. Matter of fact, I got that on a random sticky note here on my desk a minute ago. But I heard about that.
Okay, these are all somewhat related. So to break it down, control dramas is what we learn as kids, how to get attention and energy in our family dynamic. And the way it breaks down is there's basically 4 control dramas. There's the interrogator, which creates an aloof, because the interrogator is going to ask you questions and find something wrong with your answer. And that's how they kind of gain energy from you. And the aloof will, when you ask them questions, will become aloof. They'll dodge the question, they'll back away. There's also the intimidator and the poor me. So the intimidator is going to be, all up in your grill, trying to intimidate you to gain energy off of you. And then the poor me is like, oh, poor me. It's good. So it goes along similar to the drama triangle or the victim triangle, which is there's a persecutor, which comes at that person, asks them questions, or trying to gain energy from them. And then they become the victim of whatever that persecutor's doing. And then there's the hero, the rescuer, which comes in to try to rescue the victim, which all of these things are not positive ways of interacting with people, because it's all really, it's kind of like, you hear about energy vampires. It's every interaction we have, we're trying to gain energy. And that's why when you dominate somebody or you play out your control drama and the other person plays along, you feel better. You get that energy spike. And so having this awareness of, okay, well, my dad was probably more of an interrogator because he asked me lots of questions and I always found issues wrong with my answers. And so I became more aloof. And I think my mom was aloof as well. So I kind of had that example. But you see how we interact, especially in our family, of origin. And it's like, well, as we take that out into the world, it's like, well, why do I act the way I do? Oh, maybe it has something to do with my family. Do you have any experience with this, or does this sound like something that you'd be aware of?
Yeah, a couple of those pretty much sounds like ex-wives of mine. Um, but I mean, to me, it sounds like ways that certain people um, probably people that are unhealthy in some kind of way. To me, it sounds like that's the way some of those people try to get kind of the upper hand, or I guess for lack of a better word, control in the middle of a situation or in a relational kind of dynamic of the two. And all of them, to me, seem kind of manipulative in some kind of way. I mean, maybe I've just been awake for a long time today, and but all of them seem kind of manipulative. Is that the case? Am I picking that up right?
That's basically it. It's how you manipulate others to get energy from them so that you can, fill your tank and boost yourself. And so that's why, like most things, you have to become aware of what your own control drama is so that you can break it or fix it or heal it. And so you're not trying to manipulate others to get energy. You can just be conscious and actually give energy and boost other people up so that they'll give you energy. And you have that compound effect of actually giving energy. But most people are so unconscious and unaware of their control dramas or how they get energy. And it goes into, and that's why I asked you about victim triangle and attachment styles, because those are all similarly related. How you grew up will relate to how your attachment style formed, or, if you know how to get out of a victim triangle, or if you're just stuck in it, because most of us get into the victim triangle, whether we realize it or not, because somebody does something that triggers us, which is usually asking us a question or trying to dominate or manipulate us, and then you become the victim, and then you'll have somebody come along like, oh, you're not wrong, there's nothing wrong with you, it's all their fault, and then it generates this triangle of just manipulation, where in the victim triangle, at least, if at least one of those people would stop, like if you had somebody, if you were playing the victim, like, oh, my boss did this and he said that, and if that person would just be like, well, is there any validity to that? What was your responsibility? That, try to break that triangle versus playing into that. Oh, it's not your fault. They're a meanie and a baddie, all that stuff like that. So it's another one of those ways that we as men trying to better ourselves must become aware of how we grew up, what our control drama is, and how that relates to how we interact with the people in the world.
So you think everybody does one of those things?
I think we all, for the most part, started out. Maybe there's a small percentage, I would think, that came from a very healthy, loving household that didn't develop those things. So I think most people, because it's unconscious, develop one or more of those to unconsciously manipulate to get energy and to make themselves feel better in interactions.
Man, I'm stuck in rut, because I mean, I try to, whenever I learn anything new, I try to find myself in that thing so I can relate or connect to that concept, whatever that is. And so I'm wondering, so which one of those, I'm right here, I'm struggling kind of which one of those would I fall into? And I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I definitely had, if anybody can have some childhood stuff that shows up in adulthood, it would be me. So I would have a hard time believing I don't do any of those things, but I'm trying to figure out which one of those I do. Maybe I need to ask my wife.
Well, it could be, because you've done so much work that you've kind of worked your way out of it now, but maybe if you look back on childhood and, dad being there, dad not being there, how mom acted, grandma, everything else, and then you see kind of how you played into whatever their drama was.
Wow, man. Yeah, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm trying to figure out. I know for sure when I was young, man, I did some of that stuff, manipulation, those kind of things through, just through certain things. I mean, I was one of those kids that, I had some trauma young in my life, and I actually, I actually used to, kind of way older than I should have. This is just me being vulnerable, transparent. I used to like go to the bathroom in my underwear just as a way to maintain some kind of control or some kind of manipulation or something like that. And so, I mean, I did a lot of those kind of things, back then, and yeah, I mean, I have a hard time thinking that I've completely worked my way out of all that. Maybe, maybe I have, maybe just some of that stuff I've just chosen to let go and to, to yeah, I'm definitely not a control person. I'll say that for
Right.
sure. I'm definitely not a. I mean, I can be an organizational for sure. I can be even a structural, a methodical kind of person in terms of profession and getting things done and that kind of stuff. But control just kind of it breaks me out in the hives. So I don't. So I think if I ever find myself trying to control the situation or somebody or a room, I'm more likely than not to just kind of back off and just say, yeah, whatever, man, and let that go.
Yeah, so most likely you're probably like me. You're probably in a loop where when there's something trying to control, you're like, I'm gonna back off and get out of the way of that. Like I'm gonna sidestep that, or maybe you can even slide into the poor me because a lot of times the wedding can be a poor me thing because you get attention like, oh, the poor baby, he wet himself, he's so stressed out. And it's the thing is like we don't even realize like you don't consciously do those things. None of us consciously go, oh, I'm gonna be aloof right now. It's just how you react to the situation and to the environment. And that's where
Hmm.
the self-awareness comes in where you go, okay, I see myself becoming aloof because this person is coming at me in a way that triggers what makes me feel like they're interrogating me or they're intimidating me. So instead of playing into that, when you become conscious of it, then you just basically name what it is. It's like, why are you interrogating me? Why are you so angry? Why are you acting this way? Just to kind of
Hmm.
deflate the situation versus playing it. Because what's interesting about it, the way I learned it is that the intimidator or the interrogator creates the aloof. Because the interrogator comes in and asks questions and then finds something wrong with your answer. So then it creates the aloof, which is like, oh well, I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna be over here. You can't find me. You can't ask me questions. I'm just gonna play mysterious. But then the aloof actually creates the interrogator. Because if you're an aloof parent, then the kid's like, "What are you doing, mom? What's going on? Why are you this? Why are you that?" And then the intimidator and the poor me create each other. Because if you're intimidating, then like, "Oh, don't be so mean to me. Look at poor me. Or, you're such a meanie and a baddie." And so just having this awareness that these things may be playing out and going, okay, how do
Hmm.
I heal that and move forward and become aware of it so that I'm not unconsciously trying to manipulate, control people when it comes to gaining their attention, their energy, their love.
Hmm. I think for sure when at the time of my life when I used my addiction that I had as a form of control. It was almost a way to get back at what I felt like though was somebody trying to control me. Matter of fact, whenever I feel like I'm being controlled or someone's trying to control me, then if anything, I overreact in terms of whatever the opposite of that is. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I almost have like a Incredible Hulk kind of flip in my mind whenever I feel like somebody's trying to control me, man. I mean, I can rage, but and the way that's pointed that's played out even in my past in some passive aggressive ways was through my addiction. When I felt like someone, I'll say namely a wife, maybe was trying to control me in some kind of way. I would use that as my secret way to rebel, my secret way to kind of get back at them or to prove to myself or whatever that I will not be controlled, which obviously I'm not advocating that. That was very unhealthy. But I definitely use some of that kind of stuff to, I don't say to my advantage, but just as an act of rebellion to somebody what I felt like somebody was trying to control me, which ultimately, for some reason, I kept getting into relationships with people who were controlling. I kept getting into relationships, looking for a mama, looking for
Mhm.
something. I don't know. But like I said, and then once I got into those, for some reason, I just kind of, I don't know. I almost fought back or rebelled against the control with something that was destructive, but something that was an act of control in myself.
Yeah, that's actually the last stage usually, especially when it comes to like interrogators and aloof. Like you back away, you try to be aloof, but then as they keep coming at you, keep trying to control you because they're trying to gain your energy and get your attention. Then there comes a point where you feel so depleted that you have to snap back. You have to fight back to regain your control because they're basically bleeding you dry. And that's where having this awareness of how we grew up, because yeah, we tend to get into relationships as we get older that emulate our family dynamic because that feels like normal. That feels like love because that's how my parents were. So that's how, I attract these people. And then you get there at some point and go, why am I keep getting the same people? And it's just a part of that getting in the mirror thing. Like, step one in the book, you got to get in the mirror and realize that we have control dramas, we have attachment styles, we may play in the victim triangle. And when you're unconscious, these things just play out. And you go, oh, poor me. Oh, woe is me. Like this stuff just happens. But then you can take your power back and realize, oh, I don't have to play these games. And so many people are walking around unconscious, just unconsciously playing these games with each other. And then they're just validating whatever their control drama is. Oh, if I'm the aloof, then people they keep interrogating me. I don't understand.
And so then, so then my natural question is, how do you disengage, or shouldn't it be? I mean, is it the obvious kind of response to all that to disengage or to somehow step out of the dance? I mean, if you're going to be in the dance with one of the other ones, then to me, like I said, the default is, okay, how do I step out of that, or how do I get to the next level in life?
The way to do it is conscious communication. So you want to be grounded, and the best way is to understand your control drama so that you can recognize other people's control dramas and you can name it. But then you can also just offer to give them love and energy up front, because then they don't have to play control drama. If you can be grounded within yourself and fill yourself up with source, God, whatever, and be on your own foundation. So when they come over and they're attempting to do these control dramas, you'd be like, you don't need to control me. I love you. Let me give you some, attention and energy. Or if they're trying to intimidate you, it's like, you don't have to be all angry and stuff. Like, why are you being angry? I'm here where we can work this out together. Let's work it consciously. Let's not get unconscious and start to try to control, manipulate each other to gain energy. And that's one of the things a lot of the masters taught us, was that being in alignment with yourself and generating that energy of love and giving that out freely nixes most of those unconscious control dramas, because they're all about getting energy from other people anyway. So when you're just offering that freely because you're filled up, like you say, you're giving from your saucer, not your cup. You're overflowing with energy and love, and you can give that freely. Then it just compounds, and now this person can generate their own energy and give it back. And so you create what they call conscious conversation or communication. So you're amplifying each other's energy by giving them attention, giving them love and focus.
You know who amplifies this show? Some of our sponsors, man.
Yes, they do.
I mean, I'm a complete pivot, man. We love the fact that, we got Pro Auto, man, Castle Rock Men's Health, my man Barry Overturn in the house. He posted something. He in California, I think. Man, that dude be in California all the time. I need to roll with him, but
he be living that life that we wish we could.
For real. But people, those are examples of situations where it is a giving kind of thing. It is a producing, not a consuming kind of thing. It's one of those when I think, from what I'm starting to gather, the dots starting to connect. When we live a life of radiation and not live a life of just receiving and consumption, then we're able to give somebody what it is that they might need in a moment. And, again, especially if it's unconscious. I think if somebody is, in my mind, if somebody is trying to manipulate me in some kind of way to gain something for themselves, those are probably games that I'm not going to play too often. But if it's, in the context of a relationship, maybe somebody just needs some reassurance. Maybe somebody just needs some love. We all do, sometimes, man. Like, am I lovable? Am I a good person? Am I, we all kind of have those experiences. And so maybe when you're in some kind of relationship, not even necessarily a romantic relationship, but some kind of relationship with somebody else, when we live a life of giving the affirmation, giving the reassurance, giving all those things that people want, around us as we have them to give, then maybe, just maybe, we can disarm somebody from the need to find a lever to gain an upper hand or to control a situation in some kind of way.
Yeah, because I mean, most of us, until we become aware, until we do some work, until we acknowledge who we are and what our control dramas or just our personality style is, we tend to go through this unconscious battle where we're just trying to get energy from each other. Then somebody's winning, so now we feel depleted, and so that especially for us who are aloof, somebody's interrogating us, and so then we start to feel depleted, and so then we have to back away and be aloof to try to gain our energy back and gain some kind of control back. And so when you are centered and grounded and willing to give, because the other option is consumption. That's what everybody's doing. They're trying to consume each other. They're trying to, parents do it to kids, people do it in relationships, bosses do it to employees. I mean, it's nonstop out there. People are constantly trying to consume from each other, but they're doing it unconsciously. So conscious communication is, like you said, it's giving. It's willing to be there, present, 100%, give somebody your attention and your focus and send them love and energy so they don't feel the need to manipulate. And then in a lot of cases, when you can do that, you become more foundational. And then you realize as you're giving, you're also receiving. And it's usually, especially for a lot of times when you first start doing this, you're going to see people's faces like be weird because they're like, this is not what I'm used to. This guy's just making me feel better. They'll be like, oh, you're such a great listener. You're such a great communicator, because they're so used to competing and consuming versus receiving and then building.
Mm-hmm. But then maybe you also have to, and I'm not one of those people that live a guarded life. I'm not one of those people that kind of live on defense. That's just not the way I'm wired. At the same time, I am aware that we do have to protect our faucet. We do have to make sure that we aren't just completely giving to suckers. You even said like the vampire kind of analogy a little bit ago. I mean, we got to be careful that, I mean, there's some people that are just takers. That's just the way they are, the way they're wired. Their dysfunction is they take. They don't even know how to give. And so those kind of people, we need to make sure that those people have limited access to us, such that we aren't in a position that we need to be the ones that they're taking from all the time, because the takers will take no matter what. And even when you're bone dry empty, they'll keep asking for more to take. And so we got to make sure that, if nothing else, we guard our circle of people around us such that we don't surround ourselves with people who just want to take and never reciprocate or never give or anything like that. Because last thing I want to do is to be, and I've been in these situations, last thing I want to do is to be with or surrounded by people or associated with too many people who really just, they see somebody that's a giver and they want to take, and they want to take everything that person has to give because they have nothing to offer to the world. So like I said, on one hand, I don't live life in defense, but at the same time, I'm old enough, mature enough, wise enough, especially as a man at 51, to recognize that everybody is not good in your inner circle. There's some people you can love from a distance. There's some people you can love at an arm's length. There's some people you can love at at a phone call, a cell phone length. And you have to keep people that way. But because I don't want to play this control drama game all day, every day. So to me, the answer to that is make sure that I got the right people in my inner circle.
Well, and the reason for that is because you're still trying to give from your cup. You're still trying to give from your limited supply. And that's why being grounded, being attached to source, your God, and having that fill you up, because that's unlimited. That source is unlimited. That energy is unlimited. And when we start to feel drained, you're absolutely right. If we're not tapped in, we're not grounded, we're not in our foundation, and we start to feel drained, then you may need to cut somebody off. But if we are getting to a point where we can practice being completely filled up by the source and completely overflowing with whatever the energy of love and attention is, then we can give almost unendingly. We can give almost infinitely because we're not using our energy. It was one of the things I learned when I first started doing Reiki and energy healings, was that I picked up a book. I was like, oh, this is cool. And so I was using my energy. And I'm trying to heal people and trying to give these healings with my energy. And I always felt drained and tired afterwards. And then when I was taught to tap into source and allow that to flow through me, and I'm basically the garden hose, like I'm just plugged in and all that love and energy is coming through me. And so when I do it that way, then I'm actually charged up while I'm doing the healing and giving energy to somebody else. And so it's the same sort of thing of if we can train ourselves to, when we start to get in those situations, we start to feel triggered or depleted, or we start to feel like control drama, taking a breath, stopping, tapping in. And then a lot of times when you tap in, that will naturally kind of take care of itself because you're not playing the game, because it takes two to tango. So when somebody comes in with that control drama and is attempting to manipulate you, and you're just like, I'm not going to play that. And so then now they have to go find somebody else to control and gain energy from.
Yeah, and I mean you're right. It's not always necessarily just somebody's doing something intentional. When you just shared that example, I thought about just even today, man. At this point, I've been up for probably 12, 15 hours. I've been in caregiver mode for my wife for some time, and just been dead dog tired, man, and just trying to take care of her physically. She recovers and recuperates. And as I walked in the door today, knowing that today was not a good day for her while I was at work, as I walked in the door today, man, I literally stopped at the bottom of my stairs and I said, God, give me some strength. I was like, God, go with me up these steps, go ahead of me up these steps, go behind me up these steps. But God, give me strength for whatever it is I'm about to meet at the top of these steps when I get into this room. And so, that to me is an example of, all right, I don't have it, but I need to tap into to who and what I believe, does have it, so that I can radiate that thing, so I can show up not in a bad place, so I can show up in a place that that can be the caregiver for somebody recovering physically from a procedure. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think in that situation, I completely agree that once I make sure my cup is filled from all the right places, then I'm able to have that overflow into my saucer, and then I'm able to serve out of my saucer so that my cup never gets empty.
Yeah, it's incumbent upon us to just be honest with ourselves. Like, do I got it today? If I don't have it today, that doesn't mean that I don't have things to do or I don't have people to take care of. That means I've got to tap into the infinite source. I got to tap into
Yeah,
God or universe or whatever your
yeah,
terminology is, because that's infinite. That is what keeps us alive. That's what enlivens our body. That is the thing that can flow through us. But if we cut that off and think we're just a body and I'm just me and it's just all about me, then that's why we get so drained. That's why we get so tired. That's why we have these control dramas, because most people are disconnected from their source, so that they have to feed off other people. They have to control other people. They have to manipulate to make themselves feel better. And it's just this unconscious game we play. So becoming conscious, becoming spiritual, becoming enlightened is understanding that there's an infinite source that we can tap into consciously, that can feed us, that can feed everybody else around us and keep us all going. But it's you have to, like you did, you got to stop and go, okay, I don't got it. I need
yeah,
help. I need you to flow through me so that I
yeah.
can be who I need to be right now.
And you know where I got that from? I got that from a couple of days ago when we were with Everett and Poonam. Um, just them talking about, as a couple, sometimes one of them's got, whatever percent and the other one's got the other percent. And, whatever that percent is, it's like, okay, I need to bring that percent. And sometimes, the other person is not necessarily, I mean, sometimes, the person is just, is down for some reason, some justifiable reason, and just literally does not have it to give. I can't expect a whole lot right now when I come home out of my spouse. She just, I mean, she's sick physically. I mean, so not sick, but anyhow, she's recovering. And so I got to make sure that if now is the time where I got to be 90, 95, 99%, 100%, so be it. But that's where I got that. I actually got that from them, the other day, man. And that was just such an encouraging conversation. But yeah, and so in some cases, people around us may not be trying to manipulate us or control us. They just may not have it. We just have to make sure we love from a healthy source, and we give whatever it is we have to give, or we go to whatever place we need to get it in order to give the people who need whatever it is around us.
Yeah, and it's a great way if you are in a relationship, and it's a great way to practice this together. Because if you're in argument or in disagreement, to stop and go, okay, we're not going to play that game. Let me get attached to my source. Let me get connected. Now let's try this again. And a lot of times that will solve a lot of the issues, because when you start to argue, then it's about who's right. And it's, once again, it's control drama. It's about trying to gain the upper hand and be the dominant one. And when you can attach the source and be filled up, then you don't care. You're like, I just want to love you. I don't care who's right or wrong. Let's get to the bottom of this and find out what the issue is, because 9 times out of 10, you're not upset for the reason you think. You've drained yourself, or something else has drained you, and so you're trying to gain that energy unconsciously from your partner. So tapping into source is the best way to fill you up and your partner up, and to stop all the drama.
And speaking of which, I got a text message from somebody in the next room over asking for some service.
We need service.
Asking for some help with something. So
well, then it sounds like a good time for the Madmen of Masculinity to be of service.
Absolutely. And we just want all y'all to know we love y'all. We have these conversations for you. Like, subscribe, check us out, madmenradio.com. Check out our our sponsors, Castle Rock Men's Health, Barry Overton, Realtor Extraordinaire, Pro Auto Care, the best daggone auto maintenance care business around. Great folks, all that kind of stuff. Check out them and holler at us at 12:20 a.m. in the Mile High City. All those kind of good things. But if nothing else, for real, don't be a chump. Don't be a sucker. Like, subscribe. I mean, engage with us. Comment. Let us know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. We just two brothers out here trying to do a good thing. It don't cost you nothing to hit that little button on your phone just to help us to the next step. We love seeing our subscribers go up, our views and listens go up. It's pretty cool. Maybe in 10 years, we'll be an overnight success. But keep tuning in, and we'll keep tuning into you. And until next time, the Madmen are out.